Welcome back, my nomads. Welcome back to another Bitcast. I got Zach here with me today again. What's good, Zach?
Hey man, how you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. I got a question for
Good.
you, man. Are you checking out SheHulk?
I did.
Um, I don't really have any questions for you about the show per se. I just want to ask you how you feel about Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk's portrayal in the show.
I think the Hawks portrayal in general is pretty bad now. I don't like the whole smart hawk, all that stuff. I get it why they went down that route so they could kind of make it so they can kind of characterize him, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because the Incredible Hulk is not really a character you can connect to, just Bruce Banner, and I don't think and Disney was just weighing, does this make sense to continue doing this? You know what I mean? And I don't like it. Maybe it's because I'm a comic book purist, and they're not my demographic for that type of thing. I don't think they're trying to target me. You know what I mean? They're just trying to make it enjoyable overall.
I
And
get that. I get that.
it's it's a shame, man. Oh,
So,
what do you think?
um, when it comes to Bruce Banner, and the Hulk, I'm like, what are y'all doing, man? What are y'all doing? I mean, the Hulk is a puppy now, bro.
Yeah, no, yeah,
He's a puppy.
yeah,
He's a dachshund, man. He ain't nothing. Like, I mean,
yeah.
so you got me intrigued a couple weeks ago when you were talking about it was either the Hulk from 2003 or the Incredible Hulk movie you was talking about. And you got me intrigued, and I went back to the old movies, the two old movies, and watched
Hmm.
them, and I'm like, dang, these are really good, man. Like,
Yeah, no, the first one, I like the first one. It didn't get enough like love, but Ang Lee's like portrayal is kind of like how Christopher Nolan's equivalent is with Batman. I'm not saying it's as good as Batman, but it's along that line.
came
You
out
know what I
two
mean?
years
Where
before Batman Begins. Just kind of a
yeah, but
correlation
it's that
there.
same kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah, a more serious, a more like
yeah,
a
and
more adult version of a
exactly,
superhero
and you can
character.
feel for Bruce Banner because now all of a sudden he doesn't exactly have control over his alter ego, which is the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And that's the best part. That's what gravitates people to me anyway, towards Bruce Banner. And if you kind of make them one and the same, it's not as fun, like it kind of defeats the purpose of it for me,
Yeah, I feel like if you do that, like you said with the Smart Hulk, where they're combined and they're harmonious, I kind of feels like his story is done, kind of.
Hmm.
And then not only is this character done, but spoilers in She-Hulk, you bring him in to kind of, usher her into this Hulk form, and she kind of just like gaslights him and just pushes his opinions to the side. It's like, oh, I do this, and I'll do it this way, and everything does come easy to her, despite all that. So I'm like,
uh
it kind of seems like his story is done.
I gotta I have something to add to that. Have you ever heard of the Bechdale test?
Nah. Mm-mm.
So the Bechdale test was originally a joke by a female comedian, and it was the whole premise is that can you make a story with female leads? Can the story be anything about women harping over men as the story or plot in any kind of facet of the movie or storyline?
What was that comedic movie? I think it was Sandra Bullock, where she was obsessing over Bradley Cooper. What was that movie
Yeah,
called? That was a comedy. But
yeah.
yeah, I guess you
But it's
could.
a complete. It's the antithesis of that. So it's
Oh, okay.
can you make that whole? Can you make that can you have a story or a movie or show with female leads not harping in the fact that they're obsessing over a guy in the movie at all at any kind of point? You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it originally started as a joke, and it actually became a, a way of storytelling with female leads. It was satire. It was a satire in a Rick and Morty a couple seasons ago. where they're in this anthology train, and Rick was going to Morty. He was like, "Hey, you need something about some kind of feminist masterpiece about any kind of story about women who has nothing to do with the man at all." And Morty just thinks of his sister and his mom fighting scorpions while shooting rainbows out of their pelvic area. And it breaks their seal. Like, you know how Harmon is with his stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it was very it was funny because it's like, all right, and that's kind of what SheHulks kind of do, right? Because let's be real, there's no like real romantic type of thing, and it's just, we talked about this before. We're not the demographic is trying to hit in any kind of way.
I think that hit me for episode 3 or 4, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't towards me." Oh, okay.
No, it's not, dude. Like Friends meets superheroes, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
And
And it's
well, I think Marvel's smart is because they realize this show isn't geared towards like a larger demographic like most Marvel stuff is. So they was like,
yeah,
we got to hook them. We got to tell them that Daredevil's coming.
yeah, yeah,
We're not going to tell them when. And
yeah, exactly.
I'm a big Daredevil fan. I'm one of the few. So I'm sitting there watching
Really,
it weekly, and I'm like, where is he? Like, give me Daredevil.
I didn't even know he was supposed to be in there, and it doesn't really matter to me because I think it's such going to be a minor part anyway.
I know it's
Um,
gonna break my heart, man.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I didn't even know he was supposed to be in there. I stopped watching after episode 3. It was just like, I feel like it's one of those things like I could just kind of come back to it whenever,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
it's
feel if, like you said, like you can come back to whenever. You can really just do like after the show's over. You could do like a one of those YouTube videos. Google like She-Hulk in 3 minutes or whatever. What do
yeah.
I need to know? you know?
I
But
don't think it's going anywhere serious, and that's fine. Like I get it, but I just feel like with the amount of resources and the amount of money they have for all these IPs, make it worth your while.
I think uh I think it was episode 3 too, the one where I realized it wasn't for me. I text you and was like, "Oh, this show's a sitcom. It's not like it's
It
not
was always a sitcom. Like
yeah."
that's how it was branded in the beginning. Was like, hey, this is a sitcom type of thing,
Well, I don't watch trailers, so I didn't
right?
really.
And I'm surprised there isn't enough people having an issue with that, where you have to have a superhero show or movie for the most part. It's characterized by a sitcom because it's like a women lead type of thing. Like that's how I feel like I'm surprised people aren't taking that type of interpretation.
Well,
I
it
was
came
like,
out after Miss Marvel, so I think that's why there's not a whole bunch of because Miss
yeah, but
Marvel had a
you
lot of
have a
action.
talented actress now, so it's not like you have someone who's a stiff,
Mm. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like you get more action out of a mannequin in terms of emotions than Brie Larson.
yeah. Tatiana. No, I mean
So,
like Miss Marvel, the show.
oh, Miss Marvel, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. It
This
was the
show
same
came
kind
out
of thing
after
though.
her. No, Miss Marvel. Am I saying it right? Is it Cap? No, it's Miss Marvel. Yeah, Miss
Miss
Marvel
Marvel,
was
yeah, because Captain
actually
Marvel's Brie Larson. I'm sorry, I got the two confused.
yeah. Miss Marvel, the show was actually for a wider audience, like most Marvel stuff is.
I liked that. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. As a nerd, I like it. She-Hulk feels like it's for one demographic and they're just roping you in. But yeah, it's a sitcom and my thing is this, and then I'll leave it at this. Um, I think it's weird that you choose I think it's weird that you choose a power character for a sitcom.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you
Right.
have Marvel owns Howard the Duck. Why don't you do a character like that for a sitcom? Whereas you're like She-Hulk, where her cousin, you see him just tear stuff down. You're like, oh, this is about to be another banger. And every episode is 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes of her in a courtroom. And I'm like, oh,
No, you gotta. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with you. I think
it's
if
like
they
if
were gonna do something,
They did a Superman show where he's just Clark Kent the whole show and he's just taking photos.
yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you on
It's
that.
like what?
And especially with the episodes being so short, it kind of defeats the purpose almost. You know what I mean?
They're usually like 20, 22 minutes a piece.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you skip the recaps and the intro and
Yeah,
the little things at the end, it's 20 minutes a piece. I'm like, yo, what is this? An anime? That's anime runtime, man. What
yeah,
are
no,
we doing?
absolutely, absolutely.
Uh,
Look, it is what it is. It's fine. You can kind of chop it up as a mulligan and move on.
exactly. Which we'll do that because the real issue here is that there's no justice for the Hulk. I mean, when I was younger, the first Hulk movie came out when I was 13. Second one came out what in 2008? Yeah, 2008. Yeah. Um, so when I was a kid, I didn't care about anything. All I cared about was explosions, big muscle guys beating each other up, stuff like that. I was a big Transformers head. The Michael Bay movies, just watch those. Da, da, da. Now that I'm older, I'm like, give me story, give me character development. Those two Hulk movies have all that and a bag of chips, bro. That's and it and they they
Yeah,
they
you're
have fight
right.
scenes. They
Yeah,
have oh my gosh,
right.
that the original Hulk movie where he's fighting the Hulk dogs, bro. Like come on. And we got to talk about how the Hulk movies from like 2 decades ago had better CGI than these new Marvel shows coming out now. I mean, She-Hulk alone, the CGI is horrible. Now we know. Let's just put a preface out there. We know it's not the VFX artist's fault. We know it's Marvel Studios itself not
No, they're
giving
doing
y'all
it on
enough time.
purpose because they're still dropping a bunch of resources into it. Like that's it's like kind of how like Sonic was. And then it was so ill received they had to change it. Like they can the amount of money that they're spending on this, it's not like they have second rate quality. Like this is a purposeful artistry of like how it's representative, how Hulk and She-Hulk are supposed to look like. And I don't like it at all. You know what I mean? It's too I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's just Vin Diesel buffed 10 times over with green skin. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about Hulk or She-Hulk? The
But
model.
take your pick.
Well, the Hulk
Both.
model actually looks pretty good in She-Hulk. And that's just because they're just reusing assets from the movies.
Yeah.
His
No,
his
She
skin
Hulk
and
in
everything
particular,
looks
I don't
good.
know. She's just this whole.
Well,
I don't want to get on this for the whole thing, but it's just like,
when I'm getting into the CGI. Like I do know like some VFX artists talked about it how um with She-Hulk, she doesn't have any like blemishes like he does. So when you have smooth skin on a character, it's going to look fake.
okay.
That's why she looks like a PS3 character. She doesn't have any
Well,
blemishes, no
she's never
cracks in her
fought.
skin.
She doesn't have scars of any kind. You know what I mean? Like, there's none
Yeah,
of
where
that.
Bruce
Like, I
Banner,
think
he
that's
has a
supposed
little
to be.
stubble on his Hulk and everything, pores on
Yeah,
his
he's living in
skin.
Mexico doing his thing. So,
Yeah, he has a mini
I,
bar, he's chilling out.
here's the thing. Like, what I liked about the original Hulk movie,
Mhm.
Eric Bana's relationship with Jennifer Connelly was great, and
Bro,
I think that's one of the best romantic plot lines in any superhero movie.
especially in the
Was
MCU.
that yes, it was good. It was so good, and it was like, man, I feel for this guy. He wants this, this lady, but the lady's dad is this big time general in the army, and he's going to drop the whole U.S. military on it. Like that's a great thing. You know what I mean? Like there's so much to it. And
That
the
relationship is
acting
amazing.
too. The acting's great. Like,
Oh, yes.
don't get me wrong, I like Mark Ruffalo. He's okay, but Mark Ruffalo is like Owen Wilson with dark hair. He always plays this guy who just gets beat up, or is just like you
That's
feel sorry for him,
that's
or
kind of true.
his girlfriend leaves him, or he's a widow, or whatever it is, and he's always the guy getting the
Damn.
short end of the
Why you gotta
stick.
bring up Black Widow in here, man? She's dead.
Well, no, I mean, like, no, he
Yeah.
played a movie where his girlfriend died in a car accident.
Yeah, I know.
I forget which one it was, but and it was him like surviving that. So it's just like he always plays. He's typecasted.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's kind of
It diminishes his
distracting,
talent.
right? Eric Bana has done everything like you can think of. You know what I mean? And he's done villains, he's done good guys, and it's just like I loved him in Troy. He was the best part of Troy.
Oh,
You
yes,
know what I
hands
mean?
down. Hands down. Yes.
I love his character. You're like,
He's a
dang, you
stand-up
really want
comic, right?
really?
He started out as a stand-up comic.
That is insane. I did not
And
know
he's just
that.
always been a ripped stand-up comic, like Australian stand-up comic.
That's fascinating because I don't think he's done a comedy ever.
His stuff might be on YouTube. I don't know, but he's a stand-up comic, and he's very choosy with his projects, with his acting projects.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
liked him in Star Trek.
yeah.
Um, so
Lone
there's a lot. No,
Survivor, great in that.
yes, yeah. No, like the guy is proven to be a fantastic actor. Why? It's kind of like how Marvel did with Anson Mount. It's just like, guys, you have dudes like this who are like ready to do it,
Yeah, we
and they
talked
have.
about that. Like, you just wasted a great Anson Mount on a cameo. You could have had anybody in that Black Bolt suit, literally anybody.
And then you could
Just
have just
wasted
wrote
him.
it in later.
Yeah, you wasted Anson Mount. I mean, he could still come back with the multiverse. Yeah, but no one cares about Inhumans. I'm gonna say that right now. But they wasted him, man. But yeah, like that Jennifer Connelly and Eric Bana, well, their characters' relationship is amazing. And
Yes,
I liked how Ang Lee's movie really dove into the psychological trauma of both of the characters, not just Bruce Banner, but also her character, and how
yes.
their relationship kind of fizzled out because of their psychological trauma that they
But
went
that's
through as a
him.
kid.
All his movies have that.
Right, right.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, except for Gemini
Pie.
Man.
Well, yeah, but a lot of movies he's done though. But here's the thing: when you throw all this money at him and you want to make him a blockbuster, that's not the kind of guy he is. That's not the kind of movie you're going to
Nah,
get out of it.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he has to fulfill these expectations. I'm like, you can't do that. That's not how he operates.
Because he
You
gets
know what I
really
mean?
excited with new technology, and he did
He
all the
overdoes it.
mocap for the Hulk in that
Hmm.
movie, and then he like I remember he was talking about how all that they can do digitally with film, and he's
Yeah,
like, we could do these transitions in little boxes, and the movie that becomes a little distracting because
yeah,
there's so many like transitions. It reminds me of when I was in film school and it was like camera editing, camera slash shooting 101. And then there's always that one student who never edited anything together. And then they figure out in the program there's like 1,000 transitions. So they do spiral, they do dissolves, and they do blurs. And it's like enough with the transitions, and
I
that's
got a
what he
question
did.
for you.
Mm.
Do you think he would be good and like if Game of Thrones decided to do a movie?
Who, Eric or Ang Lee?
Hmm.
Yes. I think he'll be good because technology, it's advanced so much right now that it's kind of hit a peak. So he won't get distracted with all the technology
Yeah,
and
everyone's kind of inundated with it, and it's not like a wow anymore.
now audiences are hip to it, and we're kind of getting annoyed to it because now we're like, yo, every movie now looks like Spy Kids 3D. Like, just everything's fake and it's just floating heads on digital characters. Everything looks horrible.
Uh,
So I think he would concentrate. Honestly, if he did Game of Thrones or a Game of Thrones like thing, I think it would kind of be like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is still considered one of his greatest films, where it would just be
it
these,
is his best movie.
yeah, like it would just
There's
concentrate
nothing
on
to
characters
chop
and
at.
the
He's done a lot
relationship.
of great movies, but it's
Yeah,
he
he just got
the
caught
Game
up
of
in with the technology,
I
just like
say
he did
Game
with
of
Gemini
Thrones.
Man.
I say Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones is already like an Ang Lee esque type of thing with all the drama
Oh
and
yeah,
like all the you know what I mean.
he'd
And when I
kill
mean
that.
drama, I'm talking about like drama, like teenage drama type of stuff because I don't know if I mean I know you've been watching it and I
Yeah, I'm up
just
to
caught
date.
up
Mhm.
and I'm just like, why is
Spoiler alert.
incest such a theme with this whole thing now? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just a really expensive Pornhub channel with what it is, and it kind of it's doing it for like the shock and awe more than like what it's for. Like, come on, there's I understand like royal families and on a historical level, cousins and all that stuff, right? But if you look at Gladiator as an example, Joaquin Phoenix's character forcing him on his sister, like that's a shock value thing because that wasn't something that was really talked about, and it was still so taboo to talk about that
And
people were
they
like,
they
"Oh my
didn't even
god,
have to
this
show
man's a
too much
monster."
for it to still be like, oh, now they
Exactly,
show
but now
everything.
it's like you're not just you're insinuating, you're actually showing the relationship on screen. I'm like, guys, this is too much. You know what I mean?
Yo, it's funny that you
It's
say
like,
that because I've been complaining. Well, not complaining, but I've been kind of like about this for a while. And just recently, like a couple days ago, my wife was downstairs with me and I was watching a show on HBO. I watch a lot of HBO shows, and she was like, "Man, what are you watching? A lot of what you watch has like so much sex in it." I was like, "Yo, it's an HBO show. Like that's their thing, you know." I mean, it's not just HBO, it's a lot of shows, but HBO shows are known for just, "Oh, this is happening and now we're naked." It's like
yeah, it's kind of
it's like now it's like,
yeah,
really? Another scene where this is
exactly.
happening?
You know, and it kind of diminishes, like, when you have movies like Monster Ball that's known for that type of thing.
Yes.
And you now it's just anyone does it. I feel like in order for you to like get noticed is that you got to look good naked as an extra, and then you get famous at some point.
I mean,
You know
there's
what I mean?
still some actors and actresses who refuse and they just get body doubles. And I'm like, more power to you. Because some people do lose jobs because they aren't willing to, on screen, which is ridiculous. You know, ridiculous. I don't know.
Have
It's
you Are
weird.
you going to see that Olivia Wilde movie?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. There's, you know me, man. Like, we talked about this before where I was like, whenever the drama behind the scenes
And there's
or
tons. I just got
yeah,
up to date on the controversy behind the scenes on this, more than what she's saying after the fact. You know what I mean?
well,
And
yeah.
it's not good because, like, you're making your first movie, right? And if you're
Who,
gonna
Olivia
have
Wilde?
this type of, well, like her first big one, like I don't
Yeah,
know,
her
like
first
other
big
movies,
one. Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like the other ones are like that kind of stuff doesn't count, you know what I mean? But like your first big one where it's commercialized
Yeah,
and there's
true,
expectations, like
true.
that's really when you make it, you know? And if you're gonna have controversy, there's a stigma attached to you at that point. And all you're doing is making it harder for other women who need to break through the industry because there's not enough women doing it. All you're doing is making it harder for them. That's all you're doing.
Yes, I mean, it's like you said, they'll just use this as fuel to the fire. Because now I'm not up to date with it, but you know, you know me, like there's whenever it's if it's just drama or if it's like a gimmick, if that's overshadowing the actual marketing for the actual film, chances are the film is bad. You know, like I'll use
Hmm.
Gemini Man for example. When the marketing suddenly turned from the movie itself to the technology of de-aging Will Smith, where they
You already
had
know.
like specials on TV about it, I was like,
You already know.
this movie's gonna be
Yes.
trash. And what happened?
Nope.
It was bad.
Exactly. You already know
There was
that.
no
Exactly.
humanity. There was no Ang Lee humanity in the film. He just got
Yep.
caught up with the technology. And then I saw the technology. I don't know.
It's like a
Whatever.
hot person with no personality.
Yeah, because apparently, like, maybe I think I heard that studio that did stuff for Marvel had a patent on the de-aging technology, so the other studio doing Gemini Man had to make their own algorithm or whatever. But whatever. So, whenever whether it's drama or whether it's new technology or whatever, whenever the marketing changes for a film, I'm like, I'm probably not going to see it just because like the marketing should overshadow like Black Panther 2, despite the fact that there's been drama behind the scenes and there has been drama.
I didn't know. I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, not Olivia Wilde drama. I'll just say that.
Okay.
It's not as big because it's
Then it
not
doesn't
that
matter then.
serious.
I like juicy
Okay.
gossip, dude. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
okay.
I'm like one
It's
of the
not that
girls at the
bad.
table gossiping. You know what I
It's
mean?
not that bad. But there's
Okay.
been a lot of shakeups and behind the scenes, but the marketing is still on the movie itself. and even the trailer was amazing. Like you got to do. I don't know. You got to do something because this is a job now. Olivia Wilde's a director. You know, I know a lot of stuff is going on with her personal life, and it seems like it leaked into the movie that she's doing now, where you're hiring
You
your
don't say.
boyfriend and
Oh,
stuff
you mean
like that.
Harry Styles instead? Oh my God.
And then y'all have a falling out during the movie. I don't know all the news. I don't know if it's true. I'm not up to date with it, but I'm like, you got to keep work and your personal life separate. There's some jobs
Impossible
where
in
you
that
just can't
industry.
have a bad day, and when you're a female director trying to pave the way for more female directors, you can't have a bad day on set. You just can't. I know it's
And it's
unfair,
yeah,
but it's
exactly.
true. It's
But that's part of being a trailblazer, right? You have to be on your A game all the time, no matter what.
yes.
And if you're not going to do that, like I said, especially in an industry that's been so patriarchal,
Hmm.
you're done. And then you got to wait. Then you got to have someone else take a chance and all this other stuff. Like, God forbid if this movie sucks. You know what I mean?
Well, she just got announced, Olivia Wilde, to directing the Sony Black Cat movie or something like that.
Oh my God.
Chances are that won't go through. Let me let me
Sounds awful.
let me double check that. But she was just announced to direct another movie, and I was like, if I was a producer, I'd be like, your life seems a little too messy to be like directing one of my projects. If I'm going to put
Uh,
money into a project, I don't want somebody
Especially she's
messy.
dating Harry Styles. Like, the high
Well, I heard.
profileness of it, her personal life is just too much. I know high profileness isn't a word, but still, it's
Mhm.
like it's her personal life is too high profile. Like, if something happens and etches through, media gets a hold of it. That's it. It's just going to throw a wrench in the entire project. It's inevitable.
Right. I mean, like you said, man, it's messy, man. And this is coming from a guy who hasn't really paid attention to what's happened. All I know is, Shia LaBeouf proved her wrong, and
Yeah,
and
Shia LaBeouf is. I. You know what's funny? This is the best part about his whole life right now. Besides the fact he converted to Christianity and every Jew in existence is like, wow.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I just rolled
Uh,
my eyes, y'all. I just rolled my eyes because a lot of problematic celebrities like to say, "Oh, I'm changed because I converted to Christianity." Okay.
yeah. Well, Christianity is the new rebellious stage of people now because there's so many people who are not Christians now. It's the rebellious thing to be a Christian. You know what I mean? Because everyone's
Mm.
like a blue hair, crazy, like freakazoid that has five different genders. So, if you believe in Jesus and love him, that's the antithesis of that. But no, like his type of thing, he reminds me a lot with Mel Gibson, where he's trying to like slowly get back into the groove of stuff. You know what I mean? And he just needs one thing to show he still got it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. And I don't know if you saw that. Seemed like him and John Barenthal reconciled, and he was on the podcast. I watched like 20 minutes of his interview with
There
John
was an issue with
Barenthal.
him and John Barenthal. See, this is how little I pay attention to people. I only know the Olivia Wilde thing because it popped up as a article on the
Well, I
Wall
know he
Street
wanted
Journal.
to. I know on the set of what's that war movie that he did with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf,
Oh, Fury,
Fury.
great movie, by the way.
Um,
If anyone hasn't seen it, that's a great
I
War
haven't
World
seen
II
it,
movie.
but
Oh, it's fantastic.
but wasn't John Barenthal in that?
He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not.
yeah. He was. I'm looking at the cast
Was
right
he?
now. Yeah, I'm looking at the cast right
I
now.
remember him, Michael Pena, Brad Pitt, John Barenthal was in that. Really?
So I'm
Huh?
guessing that's the actor that wanted to beat him up because I heard that on set there was somebody who was about to beat him up. Brad Pitt had to stop him or something like that. So it seems
Another
like they
typecasted
reconciled.
actor, by the way, John Barenthal, but
Yeah,
that's for
yeah.
another.
If you saw him in King Richard, he plays a regular guy. He plays a tennis coach and he's great. I was like, "Oh, look at John Barenthal playing just a
Or
regular dude."
Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh yeah, I missed that one too. But yeah, Child LaBeouf did like a whole 20-minute Well, he did more than 20 minutes, but I watched 20 minutes of him talking to John Barenthal about his journey to being sober. So it seems like he's trying to change. And then
Interesting.
he comes with
Sober, huh?
receipts and just exposes Olivia Wilde's lies about firing him. And he's like, "Oh, fired me, did you? I got receipts." You know?
Do you think there's a reckoning with the whole Me Too movement sweeping the industry that it's starting to kind of counteract that now? You know what I mean? Like
I
where you're not immediately canceled anymore on like anything, and you
I
have
do.
redemption.
I do because now, you know, it's not just the industry, it's a lot of things in life. When one thing is a certain way for a long time and it's not necessarily right, there's an overcorrection. And I think that's what happened. And now we're
Hmm.
kind of leveling out where we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Just because I mean, there's a lot of chicks who cry wolf. So let's actually get some evidence before, that whole Johnny Depp situation. You and I from the beginning was like, that don't sound right to me. And then now he's actually proven after what, 7 years this guy went through hell? After 7 years,
Yeah.
people will finally see what's going on. And I
Yeah.
think that that case is another catalyst to it, even if even it leveling itself out.
Right, and he gets offered parts all the time, and he tells them no. He's like, "Go,
Well, what would you do
screws."
if everybody
No, I
wrote
tell him
you
go
off?
away. I was like,
Yeah,
you guys damned me before you even heard the whole story. You know what I mean?
this dude has
And
millions off of royalties. He doesn't need to work
oh,
ever
dude, the guy
again.
is so wealthy, it's
Yeah, he
insane.
could
So
sell
it
one of
doesn't
his
matter.
islands to pay for his retirement. I mean, that's probably what he's
He's
doing
fine.
anyway.
He doesn't have to
He's
worry about
fine.
anything. Um,
Yes.
and no, it sucks because his personal life came out and it showed how tormented he was with himself. You know what I mean?
Not just that,
And
his kids had to go through that with
oh
people
yeah, dude,
calling
yeah,
him names.
that's
That's
what
crazy, dude.
I feel like being famous. If you're not rich, it's 100% not worth it. It's almost not 100% worth it if you are rich, but nothing's worse than being a famous person who's flat broke because you're getting the short end of the stick on both aspects at that point. You know, like I just found out who Jack Harlow is and what he does and how he's famous. And I feel like he's just one of those guys who's famous just because we know him as famous. That's it. Like I don't know what he does. I'm
I
like,
mean, he has
okay,
some good songs, man. He has some good songs.
no, well, yeah. Then his last album got destroyed, and I'm like, okay, so is he just like one of, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of people like
I see
him.
what you mean about him, though. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
okay, so where do I know this guy from? How is he famous? Everyone recognizes him. It's like, was he like a friend to Drake at a party, and everyone just associated with Drake, and that's how he got famous? You know, like that's how a lot of people, get attention now.
Yeah, there's
So
people that pop up in news stories now that I'm like,
yeah,
who?
yeah. I'm like, who's this? Or
And it's
rappers that
like,
get killed. I'm like, I've never heard this guy in my life
yeah, like
ever.
rappers who look like they're your IT specialists or and they're like, young such and such just showed up in a
Like,
red
who's
car. I'm
this?
like, who? 3 weeks ago, this guy was working at Chick-fil-A. What are you talking about? Because he had a hot song on SoundCloud. He's famous on TikTok or something. Come on, man.
Yeah, I just think the industry, it's just, I don't know. Like, look, dude, you know me. I don't really go to the movie theater unless I have to. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are dying. Like, that's it. Like, I think the movie theater industry as a whole is dead. You know
I
what I
hope
mean? And
not.
it's just,
I hope
I
not.
know you feel a different way, but you're like the guy who still gets a live
I'm a
Christmas tree
niche.
for Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't get the fake Christmas tree. You're one
yeah,
of like two people on the entire planet that does that. You know what I
right,
mean?
right. I'm a
So
niche.
exactly, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'm a niche group. We're small who still go to the movie theater. Dude, like I just went to the movie theaters twice last week. I was like one
I
of
don't even know how
three
you have the
people.
time. I don't even have the time for that. You know what I mean?
I was
It's
like one of
just,
three people every time I
yeah,
went to
dude.
the
Like, why?
movie theater.
Like, why? What's the point? I look at
Oh,
these people. I look at anytime I go to the movie theater near me. I go to the one at the Red Rock Casino, and people just look like they're know what's coming. It's like being a post someone working at the post office. Like you're on borrowed time, but when you know
I don't think the old people know that, but you know,
Like honestly,
there's
when's
a
the
lot of
last
old
time you
people that
lit the
go to
stand?
movies, bro. Like every time I'm in the movie theater, it's me and like an old couple. And then it's usually the
That's
old
kind of
guy like,
cute, I
"Oh my
guess. You
gosh."
know.
You know,
Oh, that's
like
that's
it's
actually kind
it's
of
it's
cute.
gotten to the point where I'll get my seat and then I'll go to the bathroom and I'll leave everything at my seat because I know nobody's going to be in the movie theater with me. And I'm like, "Yep, everything's still there," you know.
What a time to be alive,
I
honestly.
know,
It's
bro.
what so I want your take on this. We kind of talked about Avatar, right? Do you
Mm.
think do you think Avatar is going to be as big as the first one in terms of reception?
No, but
Okay.
you can never count out Jim Cameron, baby. You can never
Yeah.
count him out. I
How
feel
many
like he's
movies
got
does he
something on
have
his
that's made
sleeve.
over 1 billion? You know what I mean?
I mean, the dude,
Four?
he has
Something like
the bankability of a studio in one body.
yes. Yes, no, you're right. He can make the money and he can make a really good artistic movie at the same time.
Even with the first Avatar, when he was running out of money and developing new technology, he found money from somewhere else. He
He
found
doesn't have to worry about
sponsorship.
that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I
Any
mean, he's been
studio's
making
like,
these
all right,
movies for
we
like a
know you're going to
decade.
make 2.5 billion from this movie. Spend 500 million. We don't care. You know what I mean?
That's the thing
I
too.
want.
Like these superhero movies have a bigger budget than the original Avatar, and yet they don't. They're not as good. You
I
know,
was going to say he needs to do a Thanos standalone movie.
he probably won't because he won't be able to do it his way. When you're a
I
guy
don't
like
know.
that,
I don't know. I think he could because the Russo brothers had a lot of autonomy with the Avengers.
I mean, but they had to prove it though, which they did with Captain
Well,
America.
Cameron's proved it how many times over? You know
True.
what I mean? I just feel like he would be great for like a villain that's kind of like a villain but not one, and like he would be perfect for something like that. Just, I feel like Thanos would be a really good character just to kind of have like one standalone movie, just for people to get it, and then they would appreciate the Avengers even more. You know what I mean? Like how Obi-Wan is
Oh,
to the prequel movies, like you appreciate the prequel movies more just because Obi-Wan exists.
hold on. Because I just saw a meme where you remember the end scene of Endgame where everybody was at the funeral.
Yes.
Somebody said this wasn't just a funeral for Tony Stark. This was a funeral for the MCU as we know it. And then there was like, and then Phase 4 or Phase 5 happened, and it's like I kind of get that, man. Where after Thor: Love and Thunder, after
I
She-Hulk,
just
it's
saw that too.
well, we'll wrap that up. We'll wrap it up, and we'll get your take on that for another
I don't
time.
like it.
I don't like it. On that note, my nomads, this was another good one. We'll come back and we'll talk more about the Hulk and Thor about how the MCU started strong with them and just fumbled the ball afterwards.
Right.
Peace. Be creative.